Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Zaid Azamuddin. Entry number is F2073. Today I want to present about Food Act 1983. I will start the presentation with the section 3. The section 3 is about appointment of analysts and authorized officer. First point is minister should appoint many analysts and officer for their purpose in this act. Secondly, they can make a regulation concerning their qualification, conduct, and their duty. The next point is the minister shall prepare a list of appointed analysts and officer, and they should revise it as the circumstance may require. Next, the analyst and approved officer named under this provision would be called as civil servant under the Penal Code Act 574. The next point is the minister shall be issued with certification of authorization. Then it should be as a prima facie for all the evidence. Then the last point, authorize any public officials to collect samples of any food for review in regard to any matters that appear to him to concern the general customer, to concern the general interest for the customer. Next section is section 3A, approved laboratories. The minister should approve the number of laboratories by order. Then, a laboratory approved under the subsection 1 should be issued for certificate of approval. Then, the minister shall be admissible in evidence and shall be prima facie evidence of the facts so certified. Then, a certificate of approval should be given to laboratories that under license in subsection 1. For the final point is the minister shall prepare a list of approved laboratories and revise it as the circumstance of any required.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Khairul Alanas bin Kanazri. My matric card number is 17-F18F2071, and I will present the next slide, which is section 4, power of authorized officer. Okay, for the point number 1, they have 7 points, which is A until G. Okay, for the A, the authorized officer may enter any premise and take samples of such food. The purpose of the sample is to use for the preparation, preservation, and packaging. Okay, B, seize or detain any aircraft, ship, or vehicle. This act applies is being conveyed and examine any such food and take samples of the purpose of this act. C, open and examine any package. D, examine any book, document, or other record found in any premises. This act with respect to any food to which this act applies and make copies. E, production of the national registration identifier card. Its relevant document which the authorized officer may require. F, seize and detain for such time as may be necessary. G, mark, seal, or otherwise secure, weight, count, or measure any food. Okay, now let's move to the point number 2 until number 14. Okay, number 2. An authorized officer acting under this section shall require produce his certificate of authorization. Okay, number 3. Owner occupier of person in charge of any food premises. Number 4. Person who obstruct authorized officer in this course of his duty and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year or to fine or to both. Okay, for number 5, an authorized officer may arrest without warrant any person whom to have committed an offence under this Act. And the code of the Act is Act 593. Number 6, makes any false or misleading statement either verbally or in writing. 7. An authorized officer shall release any food seized by him. Number 8. Where an authorized officer has seized any food and the owner of the person is whose possession the food was at the time of seizure consent in writing to its destruction. If the owner of the person does not consent of the destruction of the food. Number 9. Authorized officer has seized any food which is perishable in nature and the owner. The responsibility for proper storage of such food so as to prevent it from deterioration, spoilage, damage, or theft pending. Okay, for the number 10. Any food appliance has been seized and detained under paragraph 1F. Okay, for number 11. Officer may destroy any food wherever found which is decayed, petrified, or injuries to health or food to important of which is prohibited, or food which is surrendered by the owner for destruction on payment by him of reasonable charges. Okay, for the number 12, any person who remove, alters, or interferes in any way with any food seized by seal under his act without the authority of an authorized officer commit an offence. Number 13. Any food seized may at the option of an authorized officer stored in the premise where it was seized by may at the direction of an authorized officer be removed. Okay, for the lastly, number 14. An authorized officer may submit any food seized by him, any sample from it, any or other sample taken by him to any approved laboratory for analysis or examination.
My name is Muhammad Hazim bin Azari. My unit number F2055. I will explain about section 5. Power to take sample. Number 1. Any approved official can demand and pick sample of food for review at any location upon payment or tender of the current market value of the food to any individual selling food, or this is agent for servant. Any is number 2. An authorized official can acquire, pick and take or receive sample for the purpose of research from any producer producing food for sale, any importer of food, or his agent or servant at any time and without payment. Number 3. Any such approved official may require the person, his agent or servant to display and permit inspection of the package in which such food is being stored at the time, as well as to take the sample need from it. Number 4. No individual shall be allowed to sell less than the entire content of uniform packet of food held for retail sale by any approved official. Thus, any person who refuse or neglect to comply with any requirement requisition by an appointed official in accordance with section commit and of sign offence and is subject to a year in jail, a fine, board of convicted. So isu di mana dengan apa sih ikut polis standard akta makanan KKM. So section 6 for akta 1983 policy for taking sample. First, submit any sample of any food for analysis. Number 2, the procedure for taking the sample shall be as prescribed by regulation. So this issue removing premise akan mechanical compound.
Thank you to Muhammad Hazim Bezari. My name is Muhammad Izzat Berosmi. My meeting number is F2057. Now let's move to the section 7, certificate of analysis. First, the certificate of analysis should be informed as prescribed by regulation. The document testing that specific testing with specific result. Here is some of example of certificate analysis. Next, we move to the method of analysis. Method of analysis has been prescribed by regulation and should be followed. Here's some of sample method of analysis. First, sampling. Second, sample stabilization. Third, sample preparation. Fourth, separation and chemical reaction. Fifth, qualitative and quantitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Next, data exclusion and data reduction. Next, data interpretation, and lastly, making decisions. Now we move to the third point. A copy of the result of any analysis of any food procured by authorized officer. That means the analysis by the person whom the food so analyzed was purchased or obtained on payment of such fee as may be prescribed. Next, the copy of the result of any analysis made under this act cannot be displayed or used as advertisement. That means if any person displays the result, he commit an offence and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for the term not exceeding 1 year or to fine or to both.